I want to thank everybody for tuning in to a special edition, Hometown Heroes. I'm your host, Luther Dupree, joined as always by my partner, Mike Vick, and we are so honored. We have Roxanne Eichler with us today. She's graced us with her presence. Last minute notice, but she stepped forward. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure to be here with both of you.
All right, and we just want to get it started as we always do at our Hometown Heroes segment. We just tell us a little bit about yourself, your beginnings, and how did you get into law? Is that something you always wanted to do? Or?
Well, my humble beginnings were from parents. One was from the Duquesne, West Mifflin area,
Okay.
which is local.
Okay.
And the other parent was from the Rankin area.
Okay.
And my parents moved out to North Versailles, and I'm a lifelong resident. So my heart's always been in my community.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, my parents encouraged me to go to law school. I was headed to being a hospital administrator. They encouraged me to go to law school. And while in law school, I did an internship for a judge, and I also worked in a law firm and worked in the library with young children.
Okay.
Mentoring them and reading stories to them and having summer reading programs. And I got accustomed to being around the children in a very positive educational way. As a result of that, and then having my own children, being married now for coming on 34 years,
Okay.
and going to Duquesne Law School. As I said, I did internships there. I became involved as I had my young children in an outreach of the volunteer child advocacy with Neighborhood Legal Services.
Okay.
I had these young children and thought, I need to give back something.
Mm-hmm.
I need to give back something to my community. So I began volunteering as a child advocate.
Okay.
And when I got to court and saw the young children having children, my heart was broken.
Mm-hmm.
I usually represented the babies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So as a result of that, and people in the PTA and the PTOs and the parents in the community as my children were growing said, why don't you give something back to our own community and attempt to run for school board.
Okay.
And I said, I'll give you 4 years and then you find somebody else. I got a lot of things I need to do. Well, 25 years later,
you're still there.
My heart is there because we've been able to do some wonderful things for children in the community while I've been on the board. Mm-hmm. So that's where it began, that's where we are now, and as a result of that, when our sitting judge decided to retire, I was approached, hey listen, you've given so much to the community, why don't you seek the office of district magistrate?
Mm-hmm.
I thought to myself, all right, and it's called magisterial district judge under the law now, I will make a go of it. And in the spring of this year, I won both the Republican and Democratic nominations for district judge in our local area.
All right, all right.
And as a result of going to community days and growing up in the area, I met Michael, last week?
Yeah, right in North Versailles.
At Crestus Community Days, and we
Okay.
had a wonderful time.
Oh, great, great. Now, the magisterial district judge, can you tell the viewing audience a little bit about that position? And
Yes, I would be happy to. The magisterial district judge, I think, is your first line to the legal process and the courts in Pennsylvania.
Okay, okay.
That's where the warrants for arrest are issued.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the search warrants are issued. So it's important that that be an honest, forthright person.
Mm-hmm.
So when law enforcement brings the request to issue that warrant, that person has to be upright to decide whether there is cause to issue that warrant appropriately, and also to not inform the perpetrators that the police are coming. Also, the district judge does a lot with tenancy, landlord-tenant issues. Also does a lot with child truancy and other school violations, and many other things that are local to the area. So you have a voice in the grassroots with a local judge that lives among you in your community.
Okay, so that's one of the requirements, they have to live in that
Oh yes,
area.
right,
Okay.
right. And they're voted by the local population there.
Okay. Now you mentioned something as far as the East Allegheny School Board. Now,
Right.
a couple years back, you all took on Duquesne. I guess their school
Yes.
system closed,
Yes,
and that
we
was
did.
a major change. You all, I guess from like a single A school to like a double A school. how was that transition? I mean, I know it was, you know, West Mifflin and East Allegheny.
Right, that's right, that's
so
right.
So how was that process? I mean, I guess you were right in the middle of it.
Oh yes, that's a good question. I haven't thought about for a while because the children are our children.
Right, okay.
No matter where they're from. And as I told you, my dad was from West Mifflin,
Okay.
Duquesne. He went to Duquesne High.
Okay.
So I have a special affinity for Duquesne anyway. The difficulty is their tax base.
Okay.
From a tax base issue, it was not profitable for us.
Okay.
So the state came in to help us subsidize those students. From an educational standpoint, we welcomed those students because we thought there was something we could provide to them.
Okay.
Now, I was sad for the football players because they had an excellent team, and I think they could have won their state title the year they came. And I was very sad about that, so we even took on some of the coaches.
Right, okay.
To help them transition. And Mr. Tucker and a few other people that were on the board that I had a rapport with through the Allegheny Intermediate Unit that they would come and visit also came to the sports banquets and other things to encourage those young children. But we found that, you know, any of the fears or any of the trepidations or any of the social stigmas were not there. That we could all get along, we can incorporate, we can assimilate. So it did work out. It worked out very well. We don't distinguish Duquesne children and East Allegheny children. They're our children. And it's been a very nice relationship. Now, West Mifflin is closer. Those kids could walk to West Mifflin. And if you know the geography, they have to go quite far.
Right, right.
So it makes it difficult when there's evening activities, when there's sporting events or practices that are late. There's where we feel badly for them because it takes a while to transfer. But it's worked out very well. We wish we could get more subsidy for remediation to help the children catch up in some ways. Well, I want to tell you this bit of good news. There was one child who scored perfect on the PSSAs that was a Duquesne resident. So guess what? We didn't have a pep rally for football. We had a pep rally for him because he scored 100% on his PSSAs. So that's good for Duquesne to know, and we don't celebrate the good things about children enough. And we try to do that locally at East Allegheny, and that was a wonderful thing that happened a few years back. So I just wanted to, that came to my mind.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to get him on, Mike. That's
I think he's graduated and gone on.
Okay.
But that would be interesting to see some of those students and the transitions they've made and the wonderful contribution that we will be able to make to them and they to us.
Okay, okay.
When I met you last week, I was blessed to meet you the other day at the community center. I mean, at the Christmas Community Day. I was really excited. First of all, your tenure starts in November.
Right. I have to run for election on November 3rd.
Right.
I'm on both ballots, a Democrat and Republican. I'm the only candidate on the ballot now.
Okay.
So that, you know, it looks good for me, but you never count your chickens before they hatch, so to speak. But the judgeship, I will be sworn in, God willing, if everything works out, in December, and I will begin to be on the court in January of 2016.
Wow. And I want you to tell our listening audience, what are some of the programs that you want to implement there?
I'm so excited to tell you. Because I'm already involved and have been involved, not only 25 years on the school board, not only a child advocacy, and my child advocacy was in the late 80s and early 90s. It was too much on my plate to continue to do it with all my school board duties, because I'm on the Allegheny Intermediate Unit Board and also on a few other boards as a result of being on the school board. And on that Allegheny Intermediate Unit Board, I was excited to discover all the wonderful programs that they have to help our community. What are some of those programs? Drug and alcohol rehabilitation programs, truancy, children not going to school consistently late, instead of punishing them at the end of their days. Let's get them in school now to make sure they're taken care of. I brought a little picture. This is a 2014 services guide, but I brought it because I love the pictures on there. Here's the fatherhood program, a picture of the fatherhood, teaching young dads how to be fathers, how to communicate with their children, how to discipline properly, how to have fun. We have a father-daughter, father-parent dance at the end, so that little girls have a date of their father, how to date your child and show her what a real man, how a real man treats her, and a few other programs, mentoring programs, so that children are accustomed to learning how to be and act like adults, how to manage their anger, not act out in their anger, but how to disagree without disrespect. So some of these programs I would like to bring into the judge's office to mentor children. How else do I want to do it? Internships. Bring the children in that are interested in law enforcement, that are interested in criminal justice. Bring them in their young years, junior high, high school. Sit on the bench by me. Learn how to adjudicate. Learn the Socratic method of analyzing and discussing a case. That's the Socratic method, is the question and answer. You don't just spew out the facts. You don't just spew out what you believe. You question and answer back and forth in dialogue and modeling a behavior of how to learn and how to ask questions, how to seek the truth, how to bring out the facts, not to prejudge a situation based upon what you think, but based upon the evidence. So those are some of the programs that I would like to bring in. Have our first responders. What excited me about being with Michael and being introduced to him at the Crestus Community Days last week is his bridge program, where he wants to bridge a gap between law enforcement and first responders and students in the community. And I got excited to think about that, and it caused me to remember a quote that I saw in my church bulletin several months ago by an author that said, "Rules without relationship breeds rebellion."
It definitely does.
So to me, even in my faith upbringing, where it says relationship counts first, I mean, Jesus had disciples. He just didn't have students. He just didn't have family. He had disciples. They were learning something. He engaged in relationship. Many other mentors and religious men and women throughout history mentored people, so that when Michael discussed his bridge program or something that he would like to do, it got me excited to think we need to build relationships.
That's the key.
For the listening audience that are not familiar with the program, it's called Healing and Building Bridges. And everyone knows, I believe that as a community, we need to have an olive branch between the police and the black community, so we may have a meaningful dialogue to stop some of the negative things in our community. And we have to have accountability within our community so we can stop that. And I'm very excited about a lot of the programs that you're bringing forth. So I was ecstatic when I was at the Crestus Community Center, and I could tell not only are you a person for the people, but you're very grounded in the Lord. And then I can see the Lord is assembling a plethora of people to help you do what's on your heart, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Right, it's kind of unfolding before our eyes that we do the right thing and the right things come to us. And there was something else that you talked about as far as building relationships, building bridges, and also walking in somebody else's shoes. That stirred me when I heard that, and we probably could have danced right there in the streets of the community days about walking in somebody else's shoes. And I don't know if you want to expound upon that before I say how I was inspired about something just this week.
Well, go ahead and you can expound. But this actual poem that I wrote made me think about when we want to have a dialogue with the police. I wanted to let the police know that I'm really thankful for the wonderful job and thankless job that they do. So I had a poem called, "What If You Were in His Shoes?" What if your job came with a split second to choose? Wonder how much force you should use. Knowing the wrong choice, your own life you may lose. So don't be so quick to say what you do if you were in his shoes today. They're big shoes to fill. Make sure we watch our step and make sure our court dates are kept. And glad to help us to a car once a warrant for your arrest. What if your job came with a gun, a badge, and a bulletproof vest? And how would you feel, or what would you say? One of your own you had to come and take away. This is what a police officer had to deal with any given day. So next time you see an officer, I want to shake his hand and say thank you today. Now, I know a lot of times those type of thoughts aren't prevalent in our community, but those are the type of dialogue and thoughts we have to have, and things will heal,
Yes.
and we can build those bridges.
Well, that poem he quoted to me amongst all the activity
Mike
and the
has
music.
that effect on people.
He does have that effect.
That's why he's the poet laureate
yes,
of Pittsburgh.
he is the poet. Yes, that's right. I agree. And when he said that, I was mulling over some of those words all week and got excited to think, Roxanne, if you're in that position of judge, you're adjudicating people to jail. You're causing them to ride in a police car. And even while you were saying the poem, I was thinking, you're causing them to be handcuffed. You're causing them to be shackled. I'm not causing them, I'm ordering them because of what they've done. The cause, you know, they're not just victims, they are perpetrators or alleged perpetrators. So I was thinking, gosh, should I ride in the back of a police car? You know, when you said walking in their shoes, should I ride in the back of the police car? Should I feel the effect of metal cuffs on my arms? Should I feel the effect of the shackles? Should I feel the effect of going to the prison to see where they'll be? Should I feel the effect of Schumann Center, where the children will be? So I think one of the first steps, and Michael, you agree to go with me because we talked about this right before we went on the air, so hopefully we could do it. And I was thinking, who could I take with me? And you're the perfect person. Let's go and follow that path. Let's walk in those shoes. So it was very inspiring to me this week, and even as you were speaking, I even thought of the shackles and so on that I've seen because I've already been sitting with judges, learning and gleaning from the various judges in the various communities in Allegheny and the surrounding counties of what their offices, how their offices run, what they do. And so let's go and do that.
Whenever you're
Maybe
ready.
we could report back to
Right.
Luther,
I think that would be great.
Let's go do that and see. Let's walk in their shoes. Let's take their step. Let's go into their house, into their home, in their apartment. Let's see how they're living. And you know, that brings me to something else that we were talking about just the few minutes we had before about what the schools do, you know, to help students before it gets to that stage, before they're in the magistrate's office on truant charges or drug abuse or other things. And there were, in the past, there were much more funds for home and school visitors. We talked about law enforcement. We call them community resource officers. They're trained to be in schools. They're trained to adapt to teenage behavior. Don't be so quick when someone calls you a name. You know, they're a child, they're not an adult yet, but teach them how to be respectful. So these community resource officers we've had in the school, home and school visitors we've had in, so that they are going into the homes of the children. Why are you truant? What's going on? Are there drugs? Is there some reason you're not getting to bed and getting up on time? Is there some reason why you can't study? What is the basis? What is the root? Instead of just treating and reacting to the things that have occurred, the truancy itself, and sending parents to prison. Parents don't realize they're fined extensively if their child is not in school, to communicate what can occur if they're not, parents, guardians, and so on, if they're not, you know, in school.
You know, you bring up so many great ideas, and one of the things that we've done in the past, we've taken youth into the courtroom so they can see the process. To understand this is not something you want to do. You don't want to be in this situation. So I'm excited that, you know, hopefully we can bring some youth
I would
into
be
your
delighted.
You know, courtroom as well, so you can explain the process. And you know, because I think sometimes people are followers. You know, so they don't understand everything that goes on. So they're just following somebody, and they get caught up in a situation that they have no business being in. And they just were following along, and they have a criminal record for life. So
and it goes back to that issue that we were all talking about, relationship. Who are they going to relate to? Who are they going to model? Is it going to be positive influences like you have brought here and many other guests that you've discussed with me in the few minutes before we started, that have positive influences that aren't in the news as much, because bad news, I guess, sells more than good news.
Or as they say, if it bleeds, it leads.
Oh, there you go. Bleeds and leads. I never heard that before.
That's what they say.
So yes, I would be delighted. I mean, God willing that I have the opportunity to serve my community as district judge. I would love to have you in the courtroom because I also want to provide internships so that a student can put on their resume they were in a courtroom at a young age, whether it be a junior high or high school, that they've helped in the office, that they've helped in the courtroom to understand procedures. This will give them a step ahead of their peers because we've shown them things that college and graduate school students see. And then also, of course, the mentoring, mentoring the children so that we can bring first responders, law enforcement, like you say, and others to mentor these students to be in relationship with them before they get caught up in the wrong kinds of relationships.
Exactly. I know we don't have much time, but the internships, I've been in the courtroom, and I know Duquesne Law with the veterans, they've been very helpful with some of the veterans I've worked with. They got their internship and they were very helpful. So I think that could definitely be a positive
You
process.
just sparked another idea in my head. I mean, Michael and Luther, it's exciting to be with you because you're progressive men and people in the community. Bring in veterans.
Yes.
I mean, some of them even have got into the wrong areas in their life because of the things that they've experienced in war for our benefit to protect.
PTSD, a number of things that they still suffer from, and but I think that's great what the big court down in Allegheny has done is create a veterans court.
Yes.
So I definitely think that's a positive step. But I also wanted you to talk about another activity you're in, Sisters to Sisters.
Oh, yes.
We have to get that out there.
All right, we'll put a picture out of Sister to Sister. It's on CTV and Channel 40.
Okay.
I think some people, the cable companies have a different number for them. And we are 5 Christian women. I don't want to say it's similar to The View, but it takes on the issues of today from a Christian biblical perspective.
Okay, great.
And this again, getting back to agree to disagree.
Okay.
We rarely agree on most issues. Sometimes you interpret scripture, you interpret things from your life experience. And so we come at an issue from various walks of life.
Okay.
One is a pastor, one is a missionary. Assist missionaries, Kathy Zviller is the lady on TV with the old Shop and Save commercials.
Oh, okay.
And one is a marketing person. So we come from various walks of life and show people that Christians can disagree, because if we disagree, and as iron sharpens iron is our motto, then one man sharpens another. So that we become better people, we reach the truth, because that's what it's about. It's about truth, it's about honesty, and coming to an understanding of our lives and where we need to be.
Okay. And you said that's Cornerstone, and that's Wednesdays at 10 a.m.?
Yes, that's right. Wednesdays at 10 a.m., and I believe it's on also at 9 p.m. in the evening, and then maybe 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon. But thank you for the plug. I didn't mean to.
No, that was good.
That was nice of you to do that.
Good. Our listening audience know what to tune into for Sister to Sister.
Well, then I have to tell Sister to Sister. I have to mention you guys.
All right, we appreciate it.
So give me a little poster of you guys, and of your PCTV 21.
We sure will. Now, the last thing, you said neighborhood legal services.
Right.
For the viewing audience, what service is that? Is that free? Can anyone
sign
sign up?
Neighborhood Legal Services, I'm not actually a part of it at this point in my life. I was because the Bar Association had asked attorneys to volunteer to be child advocates.
Okay.
But Neighborhood Legal Services provides to those people that do not have the funds to seek legal advice.
Okay.
And it's all about accessibility. If your landlord-tenant situation, you don't know where to go. You've got a difficult landlord that's not abiding by the laws.
Okay.
Difficult tenant. Landlords usually are the ones that have the money. Sometimes they don't. If you have issues, family-related issues, they provide services to the community for those who cannot afford it themselves, so that when we approach the court, what do you see when you go to the Supreme Court and other places? A statue of Lady Justice with blinders. Justice is blind. It doesn't look at skin color, doesn't look at gender, doesn't look at the manner that you're dressed. It looks at the facts that are presented and adjudicates the law equally and fairly to every person that comes. And that's what my goal is, to be fair, to be equal, to be just to everyone who comes before me in the courtroom.
Well, I want to ask as a resident of North Versailles, where you're going to be, a lot of these programs haven't been publicized.
Right.
What are you going to do within your office to let these services be known? Because I know it can help quite a few people in the community, but unfortunately a lot of things are going on that no one knows about.
Right. Right after the election, November 3rd election, because I don't want to become partisan or I don't want to make this political.
Right.
So I'm going to wait till after the election on November 3rd and meet with stakeholders.
Okay.
Meet with the rehab institutes.
Okay.
Meet with the drug and alcohol rehabilitation providers. Meet with people like Michael, like yourself, Luther, and others. They've already been calling me. I go to a community event and I run into somebody who's saying, I'm involved in this. I'm saying, oh my goodness, I would love to have. Right down the street from me, there's a person related to a woman who's been part of Schumann Center for many years. I'm walking my dog and we start talking to one another about things that we'd like to do, and it comes across. So I'd like to meet with these stakeholders. I want to know, what is your program about? How effective are you in reaching people in the community that need assistance? What have you done in the past? What is your record of accomplishment? And then sit down and meet with these people and bring their brochures into the courtroom. Bring their activities, bring their photos, bring the things into the courtroom so that I could say, or bring their liaison right there while we're adjudicating. Here is the rehab person.
Okay.
You know, go meet with her, go meet with him. Let's come back. Let's decide on the adjudication. If you go to rehab X number of days, I will bring you back into the courtroom and we'll decide what your punishment will be, what your fine will be, and so on if you're adjudicated guilty. So it gives a person an opportunity to rehabilitate themselves, but also become accountable. You're not going to get away with it as a victim. You're going to be accountable for your actions, but we're going to try to reach you where you are, to rehabilitate in some way, to save you from doing worse things.
Okay. We're out of time, but we have to have you back after you all take that ride in the police car, Mike. It's on TV, so we have
always
both
good
of
to
you.
be
Yeah,
with
that's right.
No matter where.
Sit in a jail cell and the clubs and everything, so you can report back and
Well,
let us know what it
he was my
is.
inspiration. I'll blame him.
But definitely, it was
I've
an
never
honor.
done that, so it'll be
It was
fun.
an honor having you. I think
was
you're going to
an
do a
honor.
great
Thank you for coming.
job. North Versailles community is truly honored, and
North
we look
Versailles,
forward-
Wall, Wilmerding, and East McKeesport.
Oh wow!
There you
Okay,
go.
Our community.
what a definitely
That's right.
honored to have you, and
Glad
we
you
look
came.
forward to partnering
Thank
and
you
bringing
for
some kids in, and I think you'll do a great job. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
coming
so
on.
much. It's my pleasure.
God bless you.
Thank you.
For Mike
God bless
Vick,
you.
I'm Luther Dupree. Thank you for tuning in, and check us out on the website scsportsworld.com.
Peace.